I'm going to be trading every team's best player to their playoff opponent. So we are going to look at the playoff matchups in round number 1 and basically just swap best players. So for an example, you will see Connor McDavid on the LA Kings and not the Edmonton Oilers. The Boston Bruins are going to have a 95 overall Austin Matthews on their roster. Moving along to Carolina, they are going to get Matthew Barzal, who's an 89. Colorado is going to pick up Kyle Connor, who's only a 91, so they kind of lost this trade. The Dallas Stars are going to have Jack Eichel as their best player at a 92. The Oilers will be picking up Kevin Fiala, who's only an 88 overall, so they definitely lost this trade. The Florida Panthers will pick up Nikita Kucherov, who is a 96 overall. Obviously, the LA Kings are going to have the best player in the world in Connor McDavid at a 97. Nashville is going to pick up Quinn Hughes from the Vancouver Canucks, who is a 93. The Rangers are going to have John Carlson at an 87 overall as the player that they picked up. Tampa is going to pick up Matthew Tkachuk, who's a 94. Toronto is going to have David Pastrnak, who scored the Game 7 overtime winner against them in round number 1. Vancouver is going to have Roman Josi at a 93. Vegas will have Jason Robertson at a 92. Washington is going to pick up Breadman Artemi Panarin, who is a 94 in this game. And finally, the Winnipeg Jets are going to pick up Nathan MacKinnon, who's a 96 overall. And now that we know every single player that I've swapped with the opposite team in the playoffs, we are going to go ahead and simulate 5 full seasons and see if any of these teams go on and dominate with their new best player on their team, or maybe they will fail miserably like the Toronto Maple Leafs do every single season. So at the end of season number 1, the New York Rangers are going to go ahead and finish as the best team, winning 50 games, followed by the Vegas Golden Knights. The Florida Panthers were up there. Vancouver is very good, as well as Boston and Colorado. So hopefully we have the same exact teams make the playoffs here. Buffalo somehow sneaked in, as well as the Ottawa Senators. Mikko Rantanen is going to lead the NHL in scoring with 109 points, followed by Leon Draisaitl, who had 106. Brad Marchand was up there. Matthews had a good season. Kucherov, Cale Makar had 99 points. As a defenseman, Mitch Marner had 96. This dude is the next man out of Toronto. First, it was Phil Kessel, then it was James Reimer, then it was Jake Gardner, then it was Nazem Kadri, and now it is Mitchell Marner. Now, if we take a look at the goals, Austin Matthews is going to lead with 55, followed by Kaprizov, who had 51. David Pastrnak had 49, Kucherov 46, Robertson 44. So players on different teams are still producing. Draisaitl put up 43. Obviously, Makar is going to lead in D-man in scoring with 99 points, followed by Dahlin, who had 73, McAvoy 73 as well. Demko is going to have the most wins at 44, followed by Igor Shesterkin's 42. And if we take a look at the shutouts, Andrei Vasilevsky will dominate with 8. And here is our playoff matchups for year number 1. And in the Stanley Cup Finals, we have the Winnipeg Jets up against the Buffalo Sabres. Definitely a matchup I did not see coming. But nonetheless, we got Nathan MacKinnon, who plays on the Jets now. And Buffalo, I literally did not touch their team. And somehow they are an absolute juggernaut in the playoffs, only losing 1 game so far in the postseason. And the Winnipeg Jets will get it done over Buffalo in 6 games in the NHL Finals, in the Stanley Cup Finals, as they were clearly the better team. We won the first 2 games, or why am I saying we? Nathan MacKinnon and the Jets won the first 2 games. They lost the next 2, won the 3rd, and won the 4th to finish it off, as they are going to be taking home the Stanley Cup here in season number 1. So shout out to Nathan MacKinnon and Jets fans. As you guys now are Stanley Cup champions, all you had to do was replace your best player with Nathan MacKinnon. No surprise here, as Nathan MacKinnon is going to lead the playoffs in scoring with 26 points. Followed by Nikolai Ehlers, who had a very good postseason. 13 goals and 25 points. Draisaitl had 21. Skinner, 19. Draisaitl is going to win the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy. The Maurice Richard will go to Matthews, Art Ross to Mikko Rantanen, and Norris to Cale Makar. MacKinnon is going to take home the Conn Smythe. Shesterkin, the Vezina, and the Selke will go to Alexander Barkov. So at the end of the second season, the Boston Bruins will finish as the best team in the NHL, as they won 56 games, followed by the LA Kings, who do have the best player in the world in Connor McDavid. They won 48. The Rangers won 48 as well. Florida was up there. Vegas was very good, as well as Winnipeg and Colorado. Obviously, the Winnipeg Jets are the defending Stanley Cup champions. Take it in, Jets fans. That is not something that will ever be said literally ever again. You guys are probably going to get relocated in 5 to 7 years when you're going through a rebuild. Austin Matthews is going to lead the NHL in scoring with 69 goals and 111 points, followed by Jack Hughes, who had 103. David Pastrnak had 102. Jason Robertson, 99. McDavid, only 29 goals and 99 points. Dude only had 70 assists on the season as well. Brad Marchand had 98. McKinnon was up there ranting, and not a lot of high scoring going on in the NHL this season. Well, besides Austin Matthews, who had 69 goals, Draisaitl had 52, Pastrnak 45, McKinnon 43, and Kaprizov 41. If we take a look at defensemen, Quinn Hughes is going to lead, only had 9 goals, but 83 points on the season, 1 more than Rasmus Dahlin, and 2 more than Cale Makar. Linus Ullmark is going to lead in wins with 45 for all goalies, followed by Shesterkin, who had 41. And if we take a look at the shutouts, Sergei Bobrovsky will lead with 9, as he went on an absolute tear this season. I mean, almost 10 shutouts on the year is crazy. And here we go. This is our year number 2 playoff bracket. Let's see who goes on and makes the Stanley Cup Finals. And in the Stanley Cup Finals, we have the Dallas Stars up against the New York Rangers. So Jack Eichel up against John Carlson from the Capitals. 2 absolute powerhouses in the NHL. I mean, Dallas has a good roster as well as the Rangers, so it'll be very interesting to see who goes on here and ends up winning the Stanley Cup in season number 2. And finally, the Dallas Stars are going to get it done now with Jack Eichel as their best player on their team, as he's the highest rated at a 92. They will go ahead and sweep the New York Rangers in the Stanley Cup Finals and rewrite the wrong from 2020, where they lost to the eventual winners, or actually they lost in the finals to the Tampa Bay Lightning, as Tampa Bay was an absolute wagon that season. That was the first year of the back-to-back, I believe, as Jack Eichel is going to take home the Conn Smythe. 7 goals, 23 points for him, as he has proved to be a very good pickup for the Stars. And there it is. The Dallas Stars are going to be able to raise the Stanley Cup on home ice for the first time in a long while. I mean, they won it when? Was it in the 90s, I think it was, with Mike Modano? Regardless, here comes Jamie Benn, the captain of the team. He's been the captain for a long time as well, lifting it for the very first time in his career, as the Dallas Stars are your year number 2 Stanley Cup champions. Jack Eichel would end up leading the entire playoffs in scoring with 23, followed by Austin Matthews, who surprisingly had a good postseason. Tyler Seguin had 21, Fox 21, Jamie Benn was up there, as well as Matt Duchene with 6 goals and 20 points. As Matthews pretty much going to take home all the awards, the Norris will go to Erik Karlsson, the Conn Smythe to Jack Eichel, the Vezina to Linus Ullmark, and the Selke Trophy will end up going to Barkov for the 2nd straight season in a row. Also, I would like to say, what on earth happened to the Florida Panthers in Game 1? They got dominated from like the midway point from the second period all the way down to the end of the game. It was a 0-0 game halfway through it, and then all of a sudden it is 5-1 as the final in Sunrise, Florida. They need to get their head out of their asses, wake up, and have a much better performance in game number 2. That is literally all they have to hold on to. If they go down 2-0 headed to Boston, that series is over. Moving along to season number 3, the Florida Panthers will be the best team, winning 51 games, followed by the Buffalo Sabres, a team that I literally have not touched the entire simulation. Toronto was very good. They had a good comeback. Carolina was up there, Vegas, Winnipeg, and Boston. The most beloved man in Toronto and the absolute god that is Mitch Marner is going to lead everybody in scoring with 113 points. Followed by David Pastrnak, who had 109, Matthews 107, McKinnon was up there with 102, Tage Thompson had a big year, as well as Brad Marchand. If we take a look at the goal side, Matthews is going to lead with 67 on the season, followed by Pasta, who had 55, Tage Thompson had 53, Jason Robertson had a good season, Kaprizov, Jarrett McCann scored 43 goals on the season, also 60 points. Also, shout out Stammer. Let me know in the comments below where you think Stammer will go in the offseason, if he's going to re-sign in Tampa, head back home to Toronto, or a different team. Again, Cale Makar is going to lead all defensemen in scoring. He had 19 goals and 88 points, followed by Quinn Hughes, who had 87. Dahlin, 85. Hedman had 80, so a lot of good defensemen. Now, for goalies, Sergei Bobrovsky is going to lead in wins with 46, followed by Hellebuck, who had 41. Freddie Anderson had 41. If we take a look at the shutout side, Anderson is going to lead with 7 on the season. And here we go yet again, season number 3. These are our Stanley Cup playoff matchups. And in the Stanley Cup finals, we have the Colorado Avalanche up against the Boston Bruins. So Auston Matthews somehow have made it to the finals with the Bruins. And on Colorado, I believe it was Kyle Connor that they picked up. But they are still a very, very good team. So let's see who goes on and wins the Stanley Cup here in year number 3. And the Colorado Avalanche, even without Nathan MacKinnon and their best player, are still going to get it done. I mean, they still have Cale Makar, who's the best defenseman in the NHL, and arguably could be the best player on their team. I mean, MacKinnon had a better season this year in the regular season. They've been around even in the playoffs so far. Obviously, Makar does have that one Conn Smythe, but still, nonetheless, the Avs are going to get it done in Game 7 over the Bruins in Boston as well, as Auston Matthews will lose another Game 7. Kyle Connor will actually be the Conn Smythe winner, 16 goals and 33 points. This dude just had the playoff run of his life. He will never be this good ever again, as there it is, the Stanley Cup about to be raised to the Avs for the second time in about 3 years or 4 years at this point, as Gabriel Landeskog will come lifted for the second time in his career, as the Colorado Avalanche are your Stanley Cup champions yet again. Kyle Connor is going to end up leading everybody in goals with 16 and points with 33 in the playoff run. Mikko Rantanen also at 33. Auston Matthews was up there. Cale Makar. Casey Middlestat had 7 goals and 25 points. Mitch Marner is going to take on the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Matthews, obviously, the Maurice Richard. The Norris will go to Quinn Hughes. The Conn Smythe to Connor. Ilya Sorokin's going to win the Vezina, and the Selke again will go to Barkov. Now, at the end of the 4th season, the Vegas Cheaters are going to finish as the best team in the regular season, winning 55 games. Followed by the Tampa Bay Lightning. LA Kings were very good with Connor McDavid. Colorado was up there. Boston and Edmonton. David Pastrnak is going to lead the NHL in scoring with 108 points. Followed by Jack Hughes, who had 107. Connor McDavid only had 104. Nathan MacKinnon was up there with 103. Marner had a pretty good season. Matthews. Stammer had 98, also 30 goals. Pettersson, 97. Speaking of goals, if we take a look, Matthews will lead with 59, followed by Pasta with 55. DeBrincat actually had 49, one away from a 50-goal season. Mikko Rantanen had 48, Tyler Seguin 47, Laine 47, and Kucherov 46. Makar is going to lead all defensemen with 86 points, followed by Adam Fox, who had 84. Rasmus Dahlin was up there. Hamilton had a pretty good season, as well as Quinn Hughes. Phoenix Copley is going to lead every single goaltender in wins with 42. This dude is only an 82 overall backup goalie, so I have no idea. He had a 910 save percentage and a 281 GAA. Also 6 shutouts on the season. Stuart Skinner had 40 wins, Vasi 39, and if we take a look at the shutouts, Freddie Anderson is going to lead with 8 on the season. And these are our year number 4 Stanley Cup playoff matchups. Now in the Stanley Cup finals, we have the LA Kings up against the Buffalo Sabres. Again, I have no idea how Buffalo is succeeding in this video, but the LA Kings do have Connor McDavid, who's the best player in the world today. So let's see if he can go on and finally win his very first Stanley Cup of his career. Somehow, someway, the Buffalo Sabres are going to go on and pretty much dominate LA in the Stanley Cup Finals. They were up 3-0, but ended up winning in 6 games. As a team that I literally did not even touch, didn't change their best player whatsoever because they obviously didn't make the playoffs. They are somehow going to go on and make 2 Stanley Cup Finals and win one of them over the best player in the world in Connor McDavid, as Rasmus Dahlin will win the Conn Smythe, 4 goals and 24 points for him. A very good postseason by a defenseman and a Conn Smythe trophy to his resume now. And there it is, the Stanley Cup being raised in Buffalo for, I believe, the first time in the franchise's history. I don't think they have a Stanley Cup. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but their captain, Tage Thompson, coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the very first time in his career, as the Buffalo Sabres have defied all odds and went on and won the Stanley Cup here in season number 4. Now, for the playoffs, Connor McDavid and Rasmus Dahlin are going to tie for the most points at 24, followed by Tage Thompson, who had 22. Patrick Laine had 14 goals in 13 games. Jeff Skinner had a good postseason, as well as Matthew Tkachuk and Kirill Kaprizov. McDavid is going to take home the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy. The Art Ross will go to Pasta, and the Maurice Richard to Matthews, while the Norris will go to Cale Makar. Dahlin, of course, is going to win the Conn Smythe. Ullmark the Vezina, and the Selke will go to Barkov yet again. And now, finally, in the fifth and final season, the Toronto Maple Leafs will go on and be the best team in the regular season, winning 52 games, followed by the Vegas Golden Knights, who had 49 wins. Tampa Bay was up there with 48. Minnesota had a good season, as well as Carolina and Winnipeg. Mitch Marner is going to go ahead and have a career year, 118 points, leading all skaters, followed by David Pastrnak, who had 114. Kucherov was up there. Tkachuk had a good season, as well as Jack Hughes and Austin Matthews, who had 103. Now look at the goals. Pasternak's going to dominate with 65 on the season, followed by Matthews, who had 58. Kaprizov at 47, Kucherov 45, Matthew Tkachuk 45. So he had a very good year in Tampa Bay. Mikko Rantanen at 42, Adrian Kempe 41. For a split second there, I thought it said Rempe. I was like, there's no way Matt Rempe scored 41 goals. I was about to lose my mind. Victor Hedman's going to have a career season, 91 points, leading all defensemen, followed by Makar, who had 87, and Dahlin 85. Andrei Vasilevsky is going to lead in wins for goalies, who have 44, and for shutouts, it's going to go to Alexander Georgiev, UC Saros, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Vejmelka, and Vasi, all tying with 6 on the year. And here it is, our fifth and final playoff bracket of the video. Who will go on and make the Stanley Cup Finals? And in the Stanley Cup Finals, we have the Colorado Avalanche up against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Already, the Avs have won a Stanley Cup in this video. Toronto has not, of course. They literally have not won a Stanley Cup since 1967, when nobody watching this was even born. So, in the fifth and final season, let's see which team is going to go on and end up taking home Lord Stanley at the end of the season. And the Colorado Avalanche are going to go on and beat the Toronto Maple Leafs in 6 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. They were up 3-0, so it was pretty much one-sided and kind of a domination, as they go on and prove that they don't need Nathan MacKinnon, winning 2 Stanley Cups in this video with Kyle Connor instead. I mean, they still have Cale Makar, who is probably the best defenseman in the world right now, and they are going to have another Stanley Cup added to their hardware trophy cases. Makar is going to win the Conn Smythe, 6 goals, 28 points, the second of his career, as he's going to go down as one of the greatest defensemen in the history of the game, proving to be just such a dominant force, especially in the playoffs. What he did against the Jets was insane. He just controlled and dominated the game as a defenseman. And there it is, the Stanley Cup about to be raised to the Colorado Avalanche, as here comes Gabriel Landeskog, who is currently injured in real life, coming to lift it for the 3rd time in his career, as the Avs will go on and win another Stanley Cup, the second of the video. David Pastrnak is going to lead the playoffs in scoring with 30 points, also had 10 goals, followed by Cale Makar's 28. Mitch Marner had 26, only 2 goals, but 24 apples. Mikko Rantanen was okay. Nylander had 12 goals and 23 points. Mitch Marner is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy, while Maurice Richard will go to Pasta, the Norris to Victor Hedman, the Conn Smythe, of course, to Makar, the Vezina to Vasi, and the Selke for all 5 years will go to Alexander Barkov. And that is going to do it for this video, boys. I have gone ahead and swapped every playoff matchup's best team, and that is going to do it for this video, boys. I've gone ahead and swapped every team that made the playoffs, their best player to their rival or their opponent that they played in round number 1 of the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. And well, the Colorado Avalanche really dominated, the only team to win 2 Stanley Cups during the video. We also had Winnipeg win a Stanley Cup in there. Unfortunately, the Toronto Maple Leafs cannot get it done, as per usual, really much. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure you leave some support on it. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see next. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.